John Skinner, a name synonymous with fishing, and a person I'm blessed to know as a friend, a fishing partner, and a mentor. And these days, the term fishing influencer is used to describe anyone with a YouTube fishing channel or more than a few hundred followers on Instagram. But John Skinner was influencing fishermen and fisherwomen long before many of these fishing influencers were even born. John actually got his start in we'll call it the influencing game, but it's really the education game, I think, because I think that's what John does best. He educates people on how to catch more fish. And that started all back in 1997 when he served as the surfcasting columnist for Northeast Saltwater Magazine and was actually its editor-in-chief until 2012. Fast forward 10 years, John is now the author of 4 books. He has his own line of fishing rods and lures, and he's expanded his fishing and influencing to Southwest Florida and has a very successful online educational series with Salt Strong. But who exactly is John Skinner? How did he get from being a kid growing up on Long Island to the man we know today? Despite millions of views on YouTube, thousands of books sold, John still kind of remains a man of mystery, rarely talking about himself or offering a glimpse into his personal life. And, back in February, I had the pleasure, and you see some drone shots here from that, of fishing with John down in Southwest Florida. And surprising to me, he agreed to sit down after the fishing trip and in the most appropriate place on his boat overlooking the mangroves. And you'll see we ran into them a couple times and had to stop filming and resettle the boat. But he offered to sit down and offer a glimpse into how he got where he is today. I hope you enjoy this video. As always, if you do like these videos, please hit that like button. And if you're not already a subscriber and you enjoy content like this, please consider subscribing.
All right, here we go, guys. Down here in beautiful, stunning, and warm Southwest Florida with a northern retiree, Mr. John Skinner, legendary Northeast fisherman. We all know him from his videos, Salt Strong. If you go back a few years, Northeast, the books. There's probably things I'm missing. But I don't know, at least I'm sure you've done podcasts. I'm sure you've talked to you've done fishing type interviews, magazine articles and the like.
Lots of seminars.
Seminars, yes. But I'm thinking, I want to know how you got here. I don't think you grew up far from me in Long Island. You grew up in?
Fort Jeff to start. Then Miller Place, yeah.
Okay. And you were always a fisherman?
Yeah, right from the start. From the start. Yeah. No, I know the story for that. So my parents, they had this Owens, 26-foot Owens, and they would tie up with these other people and basically party on the weekends in Conscience Bay in Port Jeff Harbor. So what do you do with your little kid to keep him, out of your hair? Give him worms, let him fish. And that's what they did, and I loved it,
And what were you catching?
Flounder, it was tons
This
of
is
flounder.
the 70s, I presume.
Oh, I'm talking about 60s. I'm talking about when I was 6, 7 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember flounder too. I'm
just watching the depth here.
We're actually getting close to the mangroves.
Yeah. I should have brought I had my push pole, but we're all right for now. So flounders, and if you got lucky, maybe you catch a little sand shark, so that was cool. And then I was very fortunate when we moved to Miller Place. We lived in one of those places where the roads run perpendicular to the bluffs, and then so like every development had like a set of stairs that went down to the beach, and that was the 70s, and back when you didn't worry about your 10-year-old going down the beach by themselves.
Believe me, we had those bluffs in Matatuck, same thing. We used to slide down those bluffs, believe it or not.
Speaking
of danger,
my brother. So there's a story.
Take a look at. Take a look behind you. I think we got to back up a little.
And we're going to have to back up, and we'll pick this up in a minute.
All right, we're out of danger, but John was telling us a story about.
So those bluffs. So the cool thing was that from the time I was 10 years old, I could just go down and fish off the beach anytime I wanted. Didn't need anybody taking me any place. So this was ideal, and so that got me into surf fishing very heavily. And those bluffs, like John started saying a story about the bluffs. So I think it was like the first year we lived in Miller Place. you know, you go beachcombing. So like, we didn't have stairs yet at the end of the street, and my parents had dropped me off, and I was walking the beach, and I didn't know it, but my brother and a friend of his tried to go down the bluff. The bluff's 160 feet. It's one of the highest points, and it was frozen.
Oh boy.
And it gave way, and they tumbled all the way down, and he broke his compound. What's the one where it goes like that? Is that a compound fracture when it breaks and goes like this?
When it comes through the skin, I know that's compound.
All right, it wasn't compound.
Clean?
It was one of these. It broke and went like that.
All right, I don't know
anyway,
what that is, but I'm sure somebody will and will comment on it.
Yeah, so it was his femur.
Oh,
and
boy.
so here he is, you know, mile and change, you know. He was like high school senior at the time. And somebody came along with a truck, picked him up. And yeah, so that's a memory from Miller Place at that time.
So with all that surf fishing, were you catching stripers then?
Oh yeah,
or,
yeah, absolutely.
And how
weak fish, stripers, bluefish. Yeah,
yeah, you've told me some weak fish stories.
Oh no, in 1981 was unbelievable. I mean, and what people didn't know, very few people knew at that time, was that they would hit after dark. So you had all these people on the beach, and then they would all, you know, once it got dark, because we were all catching them on tins and stuff, and I mean a lot of weak fish, and they were generally 6 to 10 pounds, but I had a couple of 13s, so some really big ones. My father and I would actually, when it got dark, everybody, oh yeah, okay, it's done, yeah, probably see you tomorrow. We'd walk halfway up the stairs and we'd wait for everybody to leave.
So you had the surfcaster mentality even as a teenager.
We'd wait, and then we'd go.
Secret
then we'd go
mentality.
back down, and it was redfins, and wow, that's when we got the biggest ones. My biggest ones, 13 and a half, 13, 12 and 3/4, all on plugs after dark. And everybody was off the beach.
Take a look behind you again.
And we're going up on those mangroves.
We're on the mangroves again.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to back it up again.
Yeah. So yeah, having the advantage of being, you know, from 10 years old on, being able to go fish the beach with, you know, just anytime I wanted, that was huge. And, and then as soon as I had my driver's license, we had a slip in Port Jeff Harbor, which this was a leftover from when they had the Owens. I mean, it's hard to get a slip there, and they never let the slip go. And so I was able to keep my 16-foot aluminum Lund, 1965, in Port Jeff Harbor. So I had that to fish out of. So I was fishing out of Port Jeff, Buoy 11, so forth. I clammed commercially for 3 summers, so that was cool. You know, go clamming.
Did you used to sell bluefish too?
What's that?
Did you sell bluefish, or am I thinking of somebody else telling me a story?
I've sold a few bluefish.
Okay.
Yeah, I've sold a few bluefish. 25 cents a pound. Yeah. Yep, it's a long time ago.
It's 23 cents a pound too much, by the way. But and then what happened with college? Obviously you went, or am I going too fast? Am I missing anything good?
No.
You went away to school, obviously.
Well, you know, once I
Snook just jumped right behind you, by the way.
Probably a mullet.
Oh.
Once I was up there,
and you were in Rochester, right?
Yeah, I ended up there for a while, and I ended up going to grad school. And I fished hard up there. It was a great fishery on Lake Ontario, trout and salmon. Spectacular fishery. I brought that 16-foot Lund up there, and it's funny, when I was looking for my first apartment, it had to have a garage. I was downtown Rochester. I had a garage. The boat was in the garage. It was amazing, and yeah. So and then you know, got grad school done. Came back down to Long Island, worked for Grumman for a while, and it was a long drive, and kept looking to get into Brookhaven Lab because it was a shorter drive. Managed to do that. Stayed there 28 years, and I left them a couple of years ago. And here I am.
And now you're here. And then, what was first though? Like, you're known for all the different media avenues, right? You were one of the innovators, at least in the Northeast, of utilizing YouTube. But you started writing first, and I think Northeast Magazine, right? Before you got into books.
Yeah, Northeast Saltwater in the mid '90s. Yeah, I was.
And how does one just become a writer?
You know, I was always interested in the writing, and I probably would have started writing articles anyway. But I happened to be sitting in work one day and surfing the web as people do in work, and I saw Northeast was looking for a surf editor, and I sent them a writing sample, told them about myself, got that job, did very well at it, and. You know, I really like the writing, you know.
Yeah.
And
did that segue from Northeast into the first book?
Because, you know, then you know, start getting asked for, you know, I was catching very well and writing and, you know, start getting seminar requests. And one thing leads to another, build slowly.
Yeah.
And Norris agreed to do support that first book.
And that was Season on the Brink was the first
Season on
one?
the Edge.
Season on the Edge.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know where
And,
Brink came from.
Yeah, and you know, just one thing leads to another, basically. Yeah.
All right. And then I think the thing you're most known for, YouTube.
Yeah, it kind of annoys me that that's what I'm most known for. But I understand that. I know.
It's just a fact, though.
I really, the writing and the fishing is what's important to me. But yeah, YouTube is what it is.
And for the record, if somebody hasn't read Season on the Edge,
Yeah.
that's the first book of yours I read.
Yeah.
It's an amazing book.
Yeah.
It's just, if you like fishing and you don't want to put it down, you want to keep reading it page after page after page. It's not really instructional like the Flounder book and the Bucktail book. You really get engrossed in that season you had and the shore, the tuna, it's really a great book.
The techniques are baked into those stories, though, so the techniques are all there too. So yeah, it was. I'm real proud of that effort. And
right. And was YouTube accidental? I mean,
no.
You
What happened was
thought...
all right. So what happens is, you know, it takes 2 winters because you write during the winter. It takes 2 winters to write a book, and I wrote that one. And then somewhere in there, and I don't remember what year it was.
2010.
All right, I know what it was. It was Season on the Edge was done. And I like to have winter projects because, you know, Long Island, 5.5 months, nothing. And so I'd always had in the back of my mind to write a fishing log program because that's my profession.
You know, I forgot about that.
The
fisher's log.
So I wrote that, and people continue to buy that. Like, I don't know how it was 12 years later, and it's still fine. But anyway, my wife said, you know what you should do? You should make You should make YouTube videos to promote it. So that was and I did.
And I looked it up. The first video is Fisher's Log, and I believe it was May 2nd or May 4th, 2010. So 12 years ago.
But the actual fishing videos, what happened was I was giving a talk up in Rhode Island.
Well, before you finish, are we okay?
Yeah, let's see what happens. We can always dig ourselves out.
Okay.
There's a lot of water here. I mean, relatively.
Yes, relatively deep. We're 7 feet.
So what happened in terms of the fishing videos was I had a talk up in Rhode Island one evening, which is insane that I had a talk in Rhode Island in the evening. It was a club talk. I think it was RISA, but not the big RISA show. And at that point, my kids and I were bucktailing fluke like crazy on the bucktails and gulp, and we're not seeing a lot of that. So I gave a talk on light tackle fluke bucktailing, bucktails and gulp, and those were all older bait guys, and I could just see those blank stares, and I was thinking to myself, you know what? If I had video to show these people, so the very, very first trip of the season, May 16th, when my kids and I went out, we went out with a flip camera, if you can remember those, with a waterproof housing.
Yes.
And
well, and to be fair, Skinner, until 2 years ago, your permanent phone was a flip phone.
Well, yeah, it was. And so the very first trip, we went out, and I got 2 kids, so we would take turns on drifts. One kid would hold the camera while the other kid and I fished, and we just, alternated the kids holding the camera. And that video is the first video. It remains up there. We got somebody?
We got.
Oh, Mangroves.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. All right, we'll pick this up in a minute. All right, so we go out this first trip of the year, which is 2010, I suppose, and we go out to Buoy 5 off of Roanoke, and we crushed the fluke, but it wasn't, not a surprise.
Back when Buoy 5 held fluke.
I mean, the limit at that point was 21 inches, 2 fish each. We were throwing back 5-pounders like crazy, and I'm not exaggerating. The video's there. You can watch it. We were not even using teasers, just bucktail and gulp. And we pounded those fluke. So that gave me, so then, I post the video, and back then you could only do 10-minute videos. So I had so much video, I had to break it into 2 pieces. And then maybe a week or so later, YouTube contacts me and asks if I'm interested in revenue sharing, which I had just assumed was a scam. So I had to look that up and see that it was not a scam. So I'm
going to cut you off. So you became an accidental,
of course,
YouTube monetized.
Of course, yeah.
No, because like myself, I didn't write I Know You, and that's how I got into it. And clearly a lot of people today are getting into it with the
Intentionally,
hopes
yeah.
of
Yeah.
monetizing, but yours was really accidental.
Absolutely. I had no, like I said, when they contacted me, I was like, oh, this is a scam. And it wasn't a scam. But at the time, you know, you made so little. It was, it was amazing. But again, it was one piece of many other things, and it helped promote books and
Right.
other stuff. And
Were you always thinking that one day you'll be able to maybe retire early,
No.
quit the grind? I know you raised two
No.
kids in
Yeah.
Eastern Long Island, New York State,
Yeah.
not a cheap place.
tuition? Forget New York State. It's the tuition.
Right, right. And your kids are both
You could
highly
yeah,
educated.
Yeah, you could, you know, yeah. Yeah, so no, it was not.
When did you
not
first start thinking maybe I can not work till I'm 65, 67 and sort of have this, all my different revenue streams from fishing and do this full time?
Oh no, I guess I knew it wasn't. I did know a little ways in advance that, you know, I wasn't working past. Like my wife's a school teacher, so when she was going to retire, I was going to be 59 when she retired,
And you were-
58 maybe. So I knew it wouldn't be much after that, and we'd work it out somehow. But yeah, no, it's yeah, it's worked out
All
great.
right. Well, hey, thank you for indulging me, spending a few minutes and talking about this. I think all this stuff is interesting. I hope you guys do too. Thank you, John. As always, if you like these videos, hit that like button. And if you're not already a subscriber and you like content like this, what do you do, John Skinner? Come on.
You hit the like button, and if you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Thank you. Thank
Okay.
you.